Shabbat Shalom, Ambazonia.
Open shop, come out, customer them come run. Just because you want for go for never see how much fee run.
Today, na Saturday, number 13 day for the month of March 2021. My name na Capo Daniel, the Deputy Defense Chief of the Ambazonia Defense Forces, aka Sense Pass King, una own countryman. Firstly, fake news alert. There is a write-up for social media where it talks say La République du Cameroon, their minister, Joseph Betty Asomo, he dan talk for the Cameroon government, say me then grab opportunity where he dan come out for this United Nations Security Council for get a ceasefire negotiation with Ambazonia. The fake news, he further talk how La République du Cameroon, they dan get a evaluation meeting for inside Yaoundé, a well-scripted fake news where he dan make our citizens them, they be very concerned. Would one tell them, say this news not just a make-up story where people them share them, na this type of story where it distract our people them, they blindfold them for the reality of our situation with La République and the reality of our war of liberation. These made-up stories, it come as international community, they gather up for pressurize La République du Cameroon for succumb to the will of negotiation as it can be expressed by the international community. It be very dangerous for any population to allow themselves for being motivated or be carry their hope for fake news. Success it come not only with hard work. The Ambazonian people will need to invest in their own liberation and fight hard and pay the ultimate prices for them to get their freedom just like any other country. Nothing good come easy. Our freedom will come now with hard work for we for fight and make Cameroon government miss succumb, irrespective of the international community, their reaction. It must first come for we. And those people, the way they use fake news for governize people them, they need to do any service for our people them. Ambazonia no go hope or wish itself through this independence. There is no shortcut to freedom. We must fight like this war depend on each of us until victory is attained. Any group where they use outright lies for manipulate public opinion or public sentiment should be called out and shamed. This particular fake news it be signed by one Jennifer DK, one of those SACO frontline communicators them, not just a complete fake news. The Ambazonia people they then be informed after a year of serious discussion and high-level negotiation with the United Nations Central African's office on behalf of the United Nations Secretary General with the Ambazonian Governing Council. These documents and this information have been declassified for the Ambazonian people to understand the real state of their diplomatic progress. La République du Cameroon have decided to pull out of any possible negotiation. They have chosen the path of war. That is why there is this wave of gunboat diplomacy to gather the parliamentarians and the legislative, the people of the war, to pressurize and change the tide of diplomatic posture of the international community, which right now is not prone to fight for our behalf, but there is progress on the way. The clouds are gathering on our favor, but we need to do the hard work by ourselves. There is no way about it. Ambazonian must invest in self-defense. Ambazonian must fight and beat La République du Cameroon on the field, or at least do the minimum of making sure Mr. Pobia bleeds out of Ambazonia. The challenges is enormous. Our plan and our roadmap is attainable, and we are making progress. Ambazonians should know we did not get where we are by witching or by fake news. We have beaten La République du Cameroon and kicked out their colonial administrators in our territory. They do not govern our territory in any significant way. Their occupation is now a military one, and it is just a matter of time for them to collapse. Their economy is in shambles. Their leadership is going through tough transitional period with a possibility of implosion. We must not rely on the fact that our case is good that is not good enough. Just because we are right and just because we are just does not mean that we will win. We can only win and make good of our good case by taking the right action, relying on Ambazonian ingenuity and effective prosecution of our revolution. Our people must sustain the 4 pillars of our revolution: the Monday Ghost Town, the La République du Cameroun institution boycott, a ban of political participation, and economic sabotage. We have the guns, our boys are ready, we have the plans, and we have the technology. All Ambazonia need is the investment in her own freedom. The second phase of our stabilization plan is in effect. The fundraising will be going on. There is no second plan, there is no plan B. Apart from political expediency, Ambazonians must focus and not be distracted until victory is attained. In another sad news, the Ambazonia Defense Forces and the Ambazonian Governing Council pay tribute to a hero, General Kata Niba Celestine of the Ambazonian Forces in Bafut, the 7 Kata. General Kata had served with the ADF under the contender force. The 7 Kata has been a partner and a sister force with the Ambazonia Defense Force, operating basically independent but in collaboration in more than one way. General Kata last call to us was a few weeks ago after our weapons arrived in Bali. He asked for help and had been somebody who have trained, live with Dr. Cho Ayaba to prepare for this war. He has actually worked and trained with Benedictwa and facilitate his coming into our territory some years ago when the Ambazonia Defense Forces was operating its first camp. May his soul rest in peace. He died out of sickness. We extend our love and sympathy and condolences to the Bafut 7 Kata. We pledge our allegiance to the heroes that have bore the land with their blood. Deus et decorum est. As Jesus Christ would say in the Bible, there is no more honor than this, that a man will lay his life for his kinsmen. We shall not rest until the journey and the mission of General Kata Niba Celestine is accomplished.
But trained by us, brought into the struggle by us, who was working on his block, cooperating with us. Someone who took me into the ground as we prepared our land for the almighty battle that we are now engaged in, that he just passed away. Commander Niba, a giant. It's a heartbreaking loss. It's a heartbreaking loss, and it's hard. My condolences goes to his comrade in arms and to his family.
That was the Ambazonian Defense Forces Chief, Benedictwa, and Chairman of the Ambazonian War Council. In other news, in the great state of Bui, Colonel Kumbu, that took over charge of the Ambazonia Defense Forces Yelum Camp, have been officially appointed as the commander of the Yelum Camp, replacing General Hassan, who died of bullet wounds during an assault on Yelum by the occupation forces of La République du Cameroun.
We have Commander Kumbu, who has been appointed an officer and a commander of the Yelum base with the rank of a colonel. the immediate work of the base that General Hassan died fighting in, involving hundreds of La République forces, a fight that I had been told at one point devolved into a hand-to-hand combat, a fight that La République launched mortars before their forces could withdraw. In their anger, more than 30 houses were burned to the ground, were shelled. Single commander of the Yellow base to be at alert. Soldiers, you have your commander. At this moment, I can only also inform our people of the appointment as an officer of the Ambazonian Defense Forces, Commander Ridwan, one of our most able field commanders right now in our Bui military district. Commander Ridwan is a commander of many battles with La République du Cameroon. Has a lot of armored cars killed under his belt, is always out on the road, has demonstrated both in the field and in camp his fighting, ferocious fighting, and the command of his peers. He has been appointed a colonel of the Ambazonian Defense Forces Kum base, appointed also as colonel is Commander No Mercy. This is one of the most brilliant Ambazonians you will find.
The subsequent appointment of the overall commander of the Bui Brigade in the great state of Bui will be made subsequently. Now, to Amber. I the one for take this opportunity for call out those individuals them for diaspora where they cause the continued death of our people and the destruction of Ambazonian forces on the ground. This one I talk about the TTA of the commando where they work for Chris Anu and Samuel Komesako. There be disturbing information where they come from Meta. We would then get a joint meeting last week for Meta following the execution, the killing of an Ambazonian soldier where he be to work on an independent group, the group where he work with a commander for inside Meta where they call him Millipede. One of his soldiers them come across the TTA of commando and the shooty, the executee killing he on site. We condemn this killing by the TTA following the instruction of Chris Anu. From the information that they talked, say they kill it because they be suspect say he be ADF soldier, and the other soldier for inside Meta, Commander A2, we don't fight for Ambazonia for a very long time, and we don't get information and we don't confirm them. Say they don't arrest he, the commando, the TTA, they don't arrest he, then put it for inside underground hole on holding. I don't reach out for the TTA. They don't talk say they no go fit release it. We condemn this type of attacks. The Commander A4 is not an ADF. We understand he was arrested because he was loyal to Dada, who is now a commander under the Ambazonia Defense Forces. Such senseless actions only cripple the Ambazonian forces and our chances to beat La République. Even though these two soldiers involved are not the Ambazonia Defense Forces, one for all for one will require us to stand up and speak for justice for every Ambazonian who have volunteered and put their life on the line to fight for freedom of our people. We call on Chris Anu and Sako to call for the release of these soldiers and stop their madness for fighting Ambazonians instead of fighting La République du Cameroon. How many of our boys, young men, will these people murder for no other reasons but for political posturing that do not benefit or represent the aspiration or the will of our people. We will continue to use our influence on the ground to call for a peaceful resolution of any conflict, and we call for soldiers on the ground to reject anybody from the diaspora who tries to engineer them to turn their gun against each other. Ground Zero must collaborate and fight against a common enemy, La République du Cameroon, and ignore those who make poisonous statements with baseless accusations that have no bearings at all. Our forces should fight against La République and focus on their mission to liberate homeland. Fellow Ambazonians, I will use this opportunity for call on our people for the great city, the capital city of the Savannah State, Bamenda. I want to talk for all our people, say operation they could be targeted towards specific military checkpoints, colonial military checkpoints for inside Bamenda, and would ask our people for no stand around this place, in particularly, especially for night after 7 o'clock. We call on people for avoid the city chemist roundabout, veterinary junction, finance junction, and T junction. This particular location, them within this week, would ask our people them for avoid, for stand for corner the occupation terrorist Cameroon military officer them where they go there for these positions. Liberation operations will be intensified, and we're going to launch a second phase for sustain the stabilization process where it then start for Ground Zero. And I see get calls, and they still receive call from our people them from Ekondo Titi, for Ndian, and for Victoria for recruitment and training, for continue for liberate those homeland, those areas. And I see encourage our people them and for thank them for Victoria and these areas for continue for standing and holding the peaceful demonstration through the Monday goes down for Ambazonian separation and outright independence. God bless you.
Spot for fire, dating bun. Open shop, come out, customer them come run. Just because you want for go for never see how much you run.
Capo Daniel signing out.